From turning a beach day into his own personal bodybuilding show to acting like the king of Goo Lagoon, Gary's love for Gary knows no bounds. First up, Larry takes on the Krusty Krab, flexing his management skills like he's training for a gold medal in overconfidence. It all starts with Mr. Krabs losing his shit over ketchup spills and napkin drops. Larry steps in and hugs the rage out of the crabby crustacean.
Relax, little crab guy.
Get your muscle mitch off me! Get off! Get!
That's right. Give in to the healing power of my pecs.
I feel so secure.
Next thing you know, Larry somehow muscles his way into being in charge, and SpongeBob and Squidward are at his mercy. But Larry isn't here to just manage, he's here to dominate. Yep, he tosses out the beloved Krabby Patties for protein power shakes, and forces customers to run literal obstacle courses just to place an order.
Squidward, I know Larry means well, but he's messing up the Krusty Krab. This used to be a shrine to the delicious Krabby Patty. Now it's just a stinky gym.
So Squidward's trapped in a bloody climbing net, and they've both had it. They decide to sabotage Larry's gym-themed nightmare, starting with the shakes.
And now fry it all up into a greasy, heart-stopping surprise!
Larry's confidence reaches a peak so high even his biceps are blushing. So that one failed big time. What's next? SpongeBob's losing heart. Squidward is still stuck in the climbing net. Yeah, I think Mr. Krabs needs to come back pronto. It gets worse. The customers are starving at this point. They have also had enough of the diner-turned-gym.
I need my Krabby Patties, man! You gotta help me! Help us!
Krabby Patties, that's it! Those gym guys have forgotten the simple, greasy pleasure of munching on a Krabby Patty, and we need to remind them.
What happens next is the weirdest food fight you'll ever witness, with one guy even pulling out the nunchucks. So Larry's pecs start crying, everyone's eating Krabby Patties again, and at the end of the day, Larry's got some new customers for the gym. All's well that ends well, and Krabs returns to a full and satisfied diner. Crimes committed by Larry the Lobster. Negligent endangerment. Turning the Krusty Krab into an obstacle course and gym creates a clear safety hazard. Between Nat falling off a climbing wall and Squidward's entanglement disaster, Larry's reckless fitness goals could have led to serious injuries. Exploitation of workers. Larry forces SpongeBob and Squidward to work without proper breaks, pushes them to handle dangerous tasks, and provides no compensation for their extra stress. Pretty sure Bikini Bottom labor laws have something to say about that. Disturbing the peace. The chaos Larry brings to the Krusty Krab disrupts the flow of Bikini Bottom. Between screaming customers and his heavy-handed management, the entire community gets caught in his CrossFit delusion. Potential sentences. If Larry's actions were brought to trial under American law, negligent endangerment. Larry could face fines of up to $2,500 and possibly some community service, maybe running safety drills for the Krusty Krab instead of weightlifting competitions. Exploitation of workers, fines ranging from $1,000 to $5,000 plus mandatory training in actual management practices. Disturbing the peace. Another $500 to $2,500 in fines for turning a family-friendly burger joint into a gym from hell. Total fines, a cool $6,000 to $10,000. And let's not forget the PR disaster. This would ruin Larry's squeaky clean beach bro reputation. Larry's heart was in the right place, I guess, but his ego overshadowed everything. Instead of helping customers live healthier lives, he turned the Krusty Krab into his personal boot camp and alienated everyone. By the end, even Larry admits he went too far, but not before SpongeBob's Krabby Patty revolution wins the day. Lessons learned? Larry should stick to spotting gym goers and leave the Krusty Krab to the professionals. Next, Larry builds a temple to his one true love, himself. Welcome to Larry's Gym, where the weights are heavy, but the narcissism is even heavier. Larry kicks things off by announcing his gym is open to all of Bikini Bottom. Sweet deal, right? Well, not really, because Larry slaps everyone with a lifetime membership fee. But hey, today's free. Cue the stampede of unfit fish and Mr. Krabs smelling a free opportunity like a shark-sniffing chum. Maybe SpongeBob doesn't belong here? Anywho, once in, Krabs is caught trying to swipe an exercise bike. Larry reminds him it's free today, and Krabs, hearing what he wants to, sticks around. SpongeBob, meanwhile, signs up for a lifetime membership because Larry convinces him he'll get the personal trainer experience. Spoiler, it's less personal and more, you're my science experiment now.
I'm gonna make you my personal project. Of course, you'll have to sign up for a lifetime membership.
I'm ready!
That reminds me, you need to start hydrating right now.
Larry puts SpongeBob through beginner training, which is mostly an ego trip disguised as encouragement. The dude gives SpongeBob a cotton swab with cotton balls on it, and our spongy boy still can't lift it. And instead of addressing SpongeBob's obvious lack of muscle tone, Larry doubles down, dragging him to an exercise class for crunches. Shocker, SpongeBob's abs don't materialize. Meanwhile, Larry's paperwork pile grows bigger than his biceps, and Krabs is freeloading like it's a full-time job.
Really heavy pieces of metal for free!
Yikes. By the time Larry checks in on SpongeBob again, the tables have turned. Turns out Larry's been so bogged down with admin work that he let himself go. Cue Larry's existential crisis where he whines about his dad bod, while Mr. Krabs drinks his tears thinking it's free soup. Yeah, it's as gross as it looks. SpongeBob, now the gym alpha, takes over teaching the exercise class, but
Always be hydrating. That means drink plenty of water.
Larry and SpongeBob share a bro hug, but surprise, SpongeBob's massive muscles were just water weight. Yep, Larry's obsession with hydration turned SpongeBob into a spongy water balloon. Larry squeezes SpongeBob back to his original noodle-armed form, and they laugh it off like this isn't a total workplace hazard. The episode wraps with SpongeBob returning to the Krusty Krab, delighted to grill again. Squidward is thrilled too because Mr. Krabs hasn't been around all day. Krabs isn't missing though. He's cooked himself in Larry's gym steam room and asks for a butter rubdown. Oh, Krabs. Crimes committed by the Lobster. Negligent endangerment. Larry encourages fitness antics with zero regard for safety. SpongeBob nearly implodes from water retention, and Larry doesn't even blink at the chaos his gym creates. Negligent endangerment is written all over this. Potential penalty, misdemeanor fines up to $2,500, and some good old community service. Exploitation of vulnerable individuals. Larry preys on SpongeBob's self-esteem and pressures him into a lifetime membership for science, promoting unattainable fitness standards and squeezing membership fees from Bikini Bottom's weakest residents. That's shady business. Potential penalty, fines ranging from $1,000 to $5,000 for taking advantage of SpongeBob's naivete and other gym-goers' insecurities. Disturbing the peace. Larry's chaotic gym is loud enough to rattle Bikini Bottom. Between stampedes, SpongeBob's wild transformation, and Mr. Krabs freeloading like a menace, the neighborhood is surely calling for some peace and quiet. Potential penalty, misdemeanor fines of $500 to $2,500. Summary of Larry's legal woes: negligent endangerment, $2,500 fine; exploitation of vulnerable individuals, $1,000 to $5,000 fine; disturbing the peace, $500 to $2,500 fine; total damage, Larry's wallet takes a hit of up to $10,000. Larry, maybe it's time to trade in the gym business for a side hustle that doesn't involve nearly killing your clients. What happens when Larry takes SpongeBob under his wing? Nothing good. Get ready for a beach day filled with chaos, sunburns, and Larry's unchecked ego. We kick off with SpongeBob and Patrick sunbathing, but SpongeBob's eyes get glued to Larry, the lifeguard god of Goo Lagoon.
What a guy. Is it any wonder he's so popular?
While Patrick's busy covering his belly and grabbing snacks, SpongeBob is fantasizing about how cool it'd be to be a lifeguard like Larry. Turns out, all it takes is an airborne ice cream truck literally hitting him to get noticed by Larry, who mistakes the vanilla ice cream splattered on SpongeBob's face for sunscreen. He immediately recruits SpongeBob as his new sidekick because who needs actual qualifications when you look the part?
Say, we're a little short-handed around here. How would you like to work the beach?
I'd love it!
All right. Leave that on the bench.
SpongeBob's new role turns him into the beach's it guy. The fish love him and he's basking in the fame until reality hits like, well, an airborne ice cream truck. Larry saves a drowning swimmer. Do not get me started on the absolute bloody lack of logic. They're fish. Swimming is as natural as breathing, whatever.
Breathe, darn you!
That's the last time I read and swim. You saved my life!
SpongeBob realizes being a lifeguard is actual work, something Larry conveniently forgets to mention before he bails for some tanning time with the ladies. Now SpongeBob, who can't even swim, is left in charge of the entire lagoon. Good idea? Hell no! Cue SpongeBob's meltdown. Desperate to keep the beach empty, SpongeBob lures everyone out with ice cream. Nothing clears a lagoon like free dairy. He then declares they need to wait an hour before swimming and ties them up with police tape for good measure. Patrick, blissfully unaware of this circus because he's been stuck in the bathroom, emerges, sees the police tape, and charges into the water looking for ice cream. Of course, things go south immediately.
Holy cow! Somebody's drowning!
Oh no, that's not possible. The lagoon is closed.
Dude, get your butt in the water!
SpongeBob's rescue attempts are next level ridiculous. He tries tossing a life preserver, drinking the entire lagoon with a straw, accidentally swallowing Patrick in the process, and steals a boatmobile to row out to him. Only Patrick destroys the boat in a panic, and now both of them are drowning in ankle-deep water.
Help! Help us! We're drowning!
I'm done with the beat.
Yeah, the crowd is totally over this mess. I'd be too. As SpongeBob and Patrick say their tearful goodbyes, Larry rolls back in to casually save the day. He drags their silly butts out of the water, unimpressed with SpongeBob's lifeguard skills, and promptly demotes him to practicing swimming in a kiddie pool. And both SpongeBob and Patrick get butt cramps in 2 inches of water, ending the episode with Patrick still pouting about his lack of ice cream. Crimes committed by Larry the Lobster. Negligent endangerment. Larry hands over lifeguard duties to SpongeBob, a guy who can't swim and panics at the sight of water. The result? Chaos, false alarms, and at least one fake drowning. Larry's negligence almost turns Goo Lagoon into a disaster zone. Potential penalty? Fines up to $2,500 and mandatory community service like actual lifeguard training. Crimes committed by SpongeBob SquarePants. False alarm. SpongeBob screams about sharks and sea monsters causing unnecessary panic. Even the actual sea monster has a bone to pick with him for stereotyping. This level of overreaction could easily be classified as a false alarm. Potential penalty? Fines between $500 and $1,500 for making the beach look like a bad B-movie. Disturbing the peace. SpongeBob's chaos for tying up beachgoers with police tape to drinking the entire lagoon disrupts everyone's day. The whole scene is less lifeguard on duty and more lifeguard on trial. Potential penalties, fines between $500 and $2,500 for ruining the beach vibe. Summary of legal woes: Larry, negligent endangerment, $2,500 fine. SpongeBob, false alarm, $500 to $1,500 fine. SpongeBob, disturbing the peace, $500 to $2,500 fine. Total damage up to $6,500 in fines, not counting the therapy bill for everyone at Goo Lagoon. Larry, maybe next time vet your lifeguards, and SpongeBob, stick to flippin' patties, buddy. You're much better at drowning Krabby Patties in grease than drowning your best friend in ankle-deep water. Just when you thought things couldn't get more absurd, Larry shows up to prove that living dangerously is just code for dragging SpongeBob and Patrick into the most reckless day of their lives. SpongeBob and Patrick are chilling at Goo Lagoon, getting a tan, or trying since sponges and starfish aren't exactly UV friendly. Enter Larry riding in on a motorcycle, spraying sand all over them like the king of the beach. Everyone cheers as he flexes and brags about his daredevil lifestyle. Then he drops the line that sets everything on fire.
Larry, how can they redeem their worthless lives?
I'll tell you how. By living each day as if it were their last.
How do we do that?
By living like me, Larry.
But what's that?
Bup. By living like Larry.
Living like Larry.
Living like Larry.
Living like Larry. Living like Larry.
The next day, Patrick decides their bubble-blowing, carefree lives aren't cutting it. He throws himself onto a seahorse, promptly gets bucked off, and ends up in a full-body bandage. Not to be outdone, SpongeBob takes a daredevil ride on a kiddie coin-op machine. Hey, everyone's got to start somewhere. Then things escalate. Patrick drags SpongeBob to the junkyard where he jumps into a boat headed straight for the trash compactor. Next stop, the outskirts of Bikini Bottom, where Patrick shows him a rickety board leading down a deep canyon. Naturally, he plans to skate it. SpongeBob finally tries to bring some sanity to the situation, explaining that living like Larry doesn't mean dying like Larry. But Patrick shrugs, calls SpongeBob a coward, and flies down the board. The next day, Patrick, somehow still bloody alive, shows up at the Krusty Krab running from a gang of angry bikers. Turns out living like Larry got him into some serious trouble. SpongeBob steps outside to smooth things over, but accidentally knocks over the bikers' motorcycles. A chaotic chase breaks out and something clicks inside SpongeBob. Fueled by adrenaline, he declares that he's living like Larry and becomes a full-blown daredevil. It all culminates at Ripper's Reef, where SpongeBob has rigged up a giant crossbow to launch himself and Patrick straight into a bed of razor-sharp rocks. Patrick, now full of second thoughts, tries to back out, but SpongeBob cuts the rope anyway. As the two fly toward doom, Larry finally shows up to stop them, but too late.
Look, guys! My advice wasn't meant to be taken literally. I meant to live life to the fullest, not to maim yourselves.
Cut to Bikini Bottom Hospital, where Larry and Patrick are in full-body casts and SpongeBob is rolling around in a wheelchair. But does this stop SpongeBob? Absolutely not. He immediately starts planning his next stunt, asking, what would Larry do? This is the last straw for Larry, who snaps and chases SpongeBob out of the hospital. Crimes committed. Negligent endangerment, Larry the Lobster. Encouraging two naive sea creatures to live like Larry without any warning or guidelines? That's reckless. If their stunts led to serious injuries, which they obviously did, Larry could easily face charges. Penalty up to $2,500 in fines and mandatory community service teaching safe daredevil techniques. Assault, indirect, SpongeBob and Patrick. Their stunts didn't just endanger themselves, they created chaos wherever they went. If anyone else got hurt, e.g. the bikers or beachgoers, that's indirect assault. Penalty, $1,000 to $5,000 in fines, plus a crash course in not being a menace. Disturbing the peace, SpongeBob and Patrick. From crashing a junkyard compactor to causing a biker brawl, SpongeBob and Patrick disrupted the peace at every turn. Bikini Bottom deserves compensation for the noise alone. Penalty, $500 to $2,500 in fines for public disturbances. Destruction of property, SpongeBob and Patrick. Whether it's the junkyard crusher or the crossbow at Ripper's Reef, something definitely got destroyed during these stunts. Penalty, $1,000 to $5,000 in fines, depending on the damage. Summary of fines: negligent endangerment, Larry, $2,500. Assault, indirect, SpongeBob and Patrick, $1,000 to $5,000. Disturbing the peace, SpongeBob and Patrick, $500 to $2,500. Destruction of property, SpongeBob and Patrick, $1,000 to $5,000. Total damage up to $15,000 in fines and a collective ban on extreme sports. Larry's careless advice turned SpongeBob and Patrick into Bikini Bottom's most destructive daredevils. If he just clarified that living like Larry means enjoying life, not hurling yourself into danger, this mess could have been avoided. Lesson learned. Next time, don't take life advice from a dude who rides a motorcycle on sand. Larry's muscles might be big, but his ego, even bigger. Let's dive into ripped pants to see him in action. SpongeBob and Sandy are enjoying a sunny day at Goo Lagoon when Larry struts over, flexing his lobster claws and tossing out invitations to pump some iron. Sandy's all in, and SpongeBob, well...
All right, stand back, everyone.
Yeah, let's just say this ain't his scene. He can't even lift a stick with marshmallows on the end. When he strains to pick it up, things get ripped fast. The beachgoers are canning themselves, and SpongeBob realizes he stumbled onto something bigger than weightlifting: comedy gold. At first, SpongeBob milks the ripped pants gag like it's the funniest thing ever, but comedy has a shelf life, and the audience at Goo Lagoon grows tired of this one-trick pony. Instead of backing off gracefully, SpongeBob doubles down, pulling increasingly desperate stunts. The final straw?
SpongeBob!
Come closer. I need.
What do you need?
A tailor.
Yep, our spongy boy fakes drowning just for another ripped pants joke. Feeling rejected, SpongeBob isolates himself, trying to brainstorm a comeback. Things hit rock bottom when even his pants abandon him. Yes, they literally take on a personality and walk away. Alone and dejected, SpongeBob runs into a group of beachgoers who share their tales of social blunders. Inspired, SpongeBob decides to channel his embarrassment into something meaningful. SpongeBob pours his heart out in a soulful ballad about the dangers of taking a joke too far. The beach crowd, including Sandy, is moved by his honesty and vulnerability. Sandy forgives him, but because SpongeBob can't end things without one more gag, guess what?
Would you sign my pants?
Absolutely.
Rips his underwear while signing Larry's shorts. Yeah, the joke's on SpongeBob. Crimes committed. Disturbing the peace, SpongeBob. SpongeBob's ripped pants antics, especially the fake drowning stunt, disrupted the entire beach's vibe. Goo Lagoon isn't exactly tranquil to begin with, but SpongeBob turned the chaos dial up to 11. Penalty, $500 to $2,500 fine for disrupting beachgoers' peace. Harassment, SpongeBob. Continuing to shove his jokes in people's faces after they've clearly had enough, that's towing the line into harassment territory. Penalty up to $2,500 in fines and mandatory community service to teach him about respecting boundaries. Negligent endangerment, Larry. As a self-proclaimed fitness guru and apparent beach authority, Larry stood by while SpongeBob escalated his dangerous antics. Sure, Larry was busy flexing, but as the muscle-bound role model, he could have stepped in before things went off the rails. Penalty, $2,500 fine and a mandatory course on supervising beach safety. False advertising, Larry. If Larry's reputation as a fitness leader makes people believe Goo Lagoon is a safe, well-regulated beach, SpongeBob's antics prove otherwise. That could land Larry in hot water for misrepresentation. Penalty, $1,000 to $5,000 in fines, plus a revised Goo Lagoon safety policy. Summary of fines. Disturbing the peace, SpongeBob, $500 to $2,500. Harassment, SpongeBob, up to $2,500. Negligent endangerment, Larry, $2,500. False advertising, Larry, $1,000 to $5,000. Total damages between $6,500 and $12,500 in fines, plus some bruised egos and torn clothing. Ripped Pants is a cautionary tale about moderation and knowing when to quit while you're ahead. Larry's overconfidence as a fitness influencer set the stage for SpongeBob's comedic downfall, and SpongeBob's refusal to let the joke die almost cost him his friendships. The moral? Sometimes you just have to zip it. Literally. SpongeBob's first mistake? Throwing a party.
According to the Plan Your Own Party kit, invitations are the first order of business. A short guest list consisting of
His second, assuming that anything involving his friends could possibly go according to plan. Obviously, when it says invite close friends, SpongeBob hears invite literally everyone in Bikini Bottom. Meanwhile, over at Patchy's subplot, because this is one of those episodes, he's hosting his own chaotic party, complete with a pirate guest list and Poddy's Bird Brains rock band, which drives him up the wall. You know, because nothing screams house party like literal mutiny and some loud squawking. Back at SpongeBob's house, his guests show up with one goal: to ignore the control freak energy radiating from their host.
How's it going, Squidward?
Not bad.
I have you making light conversation with Mr. Krabs from 1041 to 1047. But if you've got a case of the Jabberjaws, I can pair you up right now with Scooter.
SpongeBob's color-coded schedule might as well be written in invisible ink because no one is sticking to it. Things spiral as SpongeBob insists on painfully structured fun, including a gripping session of reading yesterday's funnies. Riveting. Larry the Lobster, though? Oh, he's thriving.
Larry, my man, you are looking good enough to eat. Oh, yeah, baby. Could use a little teeth whitener, though. I'm sure SpongeBob won't mind.
It's peak Larry. SpongeBob's desperation escalates into full-blown madness. He locks himself out, dresses as a bunny, don't ask, and nearly gets arrested when the police conveniently decide his crime isn't the attempted break-in entering of his own home, but not inviting them to the party. Meanwhile, Larry's probably leading party games like Pin the Praise on the Lobster. By morning, SpongeBob is convinced his party was a disaster, but Patrick reassures him it was the best party ever. Why? Because SpongeBob wasn't there micromanaging the fun. The guests enjoyed themselves precisely because he wasn't there to stop Larry from taking center stage and turning the party into an ego-boosting Larry-thon. Crimes committed? Larry's list. While SpongeBob's legal troubles are well documented, disturbing the peace, harassment, and property destruction, to name a few, Larry's crimes are more social. Party takeover, turning SpongeBob's shindig into the Larry Show. Sure, it's not illegal, but it's definitely obnoxious. Outshining the host. It takes a certain lack of self-awareness to outshine SpongeBob at his own party, and yet Larry somehow manages to make this a recurring talent. Larry's sentence? A lifetime of party bans for being that guy. As for SpongeBob, maybe next time he'll skip the schedules and let his friends enjoy themselves. Or better yet, let Larry host. He seems to have it all figured out, even if it's at everyone else's expense. But hey, I'm just a guy who likes cartoons. Catch you in the next video.